Thank you. I hope you've had something to eat and drink. We have to stick to our time so that we don't run out of valuable time with our discussion. So we'll give this session a start. If you're following your program closely, you will be aware that there are two sessions being run concurrently. The other is a closed door, and Director of DCDT will be taking care of that. Here we have a session that outlines challenges and opportunities in expanding connectivity. And today our moderator is Ms. Hanson Waki. She is the Universal Access and Service Coordinator working with TRBR. She is responsible for the implementation of the government universal access policy. We are in capable hands. I invite her now to take the stage and she will introduce our panelists and carry out our discussion. So I hope you have an engaging discussion. Thank you, Mrs. Waki.
Thank you, MC. Thank you for the brief introduction. I would like to call upon the panelists for this session. Mrs. Matilda Okrat, Office Manager at the Prima Limited, please come forward. And Mr. Bipin Solanki, Vice President of Sales, Pacific Broadband Satellite International Limited. If I may ask you to also come up. Thank you. And our third panelist is Mr. Abi Saloma Me Wakatapu, the ICT Service Manager with the Vanuatu Institute of Technology. Thank you. So as you may have heard from our MC, our theme for this session is we'll focus on the challenges and opportunity in expanding connectivity in the country. So our session for session 2 will be a 45-minute session, and I will ask our speakers to make the presentation. Before we move on that, I will briefly introduce our panelists. So we have here today our two providers. We are fortunate to have one from the space, the Pacific satellite connectivity, and we have the Prima here. Prima is the submarine cable, second to the interchange submarine cable. So, Mr. Bipin Solanki. Bipin Solanki is a seasoned telecom professional with over a decade of experience in the Pacific region, formerly with Vodafone Fiji and Vodafone PNG. Bipin brings expertise in product development and ICT sales. As the Vice President of Sales for the Pacific market at Pacific Broadband Satellite, Bipin leads initiatives aimed at empowering communities across the region through innovative satellite broadband technology. Based in Fiji, he is dedicated to leveraging Pacific capabilities to connect and uplift Pacific nations, driving positive impact and sustainable growth. Mrs. Matilda Orchid, Office Manager at Prima. Matilda Orchid is a French and New Vanuatu citizen, fluent in French, English, and Peace Lamang. Born in France and raised across Africa, France, and Vanuatu. She returned in 2010 to the country she proudly calls home. With a background in international business, Matilda acquired experience in marketing and corporate services through roles at Telecom Vanuatu Limited and Low Partners. She is now office manager at Prima Limited, where she oversees stakeholders engagement, marketing, and yearly administration. She was the first president of the France and Vanuatu Business Club, has been involved in the Vanuatu Financial Center Association, the Financial Market Association, and is an active member of the Kiwanis, reflecting a commitment to community service. Beyond her professional work, Matilda is passionate about horse riding. Speaker from the Vanuatu Institute of Technology, Mr. Apis Salome Wakatabu. Mr. Apis Salome Wakatabu is the ICT Service Manager at the Vanuatu Institute of Technology, where he plays a key role in driving the institution's digital transformation. He has led major initiatives, including the implementation of advanced learning management systems and the strengthening of campus-wide digital infrastructure, contributing to VIT's international recognition for innovation and education technology. With a strong background in ICT leadership and project management, it continues to support the advancement of digital learning and connectivity in Vanuatu. Thank you. So we will now proceed with the presentation from each speakers. We will start off with our providers from the Prima, so submarine cable, if you may take the phone. Thank you.
Good morning, Olgeta. Miglat se mistap tedei blo presentem Tam project lo yufala. I'll continue that in English as it might be easier for everyone, including me. Right. So the Tam project is going to be an international cable that will link 4 provinces of Vanuatu to New Caledonia. There will be an international component, which is going to be manufactured by Alcatel Services Network, and a domestic part, same manufacturer. So in total, approximately 1,000 kilometers of cable that will be laid by vessel through New Caledonia to Vanuatu. So we'll also have landing stations, infrastructure that will be installed within Vanuatu, as there is already 1 landing station in New Caledonia. So the submarine cable that is going to be laid is equipped with a smart system, and this will provide high-speed digital infrastructure to citizens of Vanuatu from urban areas to remote areas. It will connect about 150,000 people from the islands of Tanna, Menikula, and Santo, so the whole north and south, to Efate, which is about 100,000 people. And all of these people will be connected then to the world. It will enhance Vanuatu and New Caledonia telecommunication infrastructure, resiliency, as well as an alternative international IP transit route. It will also facilitate the development of local companies throughout Vanuatu and attract new investment. The smart cable will provide environmental data to improve economic security and preparedness for natural disasters. So Prima Limited, our company, the stakeholders are Vanuatu government, the French Republic, Asian Development Bank, European Investment Bank, OPT from New Caledonia, Pacific Peering, Ifremer, Alcatel Submarine Networks, and VNPF, as well as the Vanuatu Post Limited, which you can see here. In terms of financing, so 100% of the cable, the company, is owned by Ni Vanuatu citizens. At the moment, we have equity, private funding, as well as Asian Development Bank, which we had a signature last month only, as you can see on the photos. We'll have funding from the European Investment Bank and a smart capacity offtake agreement funded by the government of France. In terms of timeline, I'll be a bit briefer on that, but we already have a cable landing station in Efate, which is only a few hundred kilometers from here in Pango. We have easement lease signed to go to our cable landing station. The environmental studies have started. ASN contract, so Alcatel contract, has been mobilized and they've started to manufacture. In 2026, so this year, we're looking at having the routes approved, and 2027, we'll start with the installation, both for the wet parts and the dry parts, and we should have ready for service end of December, well, December 27 to January 2028. The Tamtam cable will be composed of two components. International cable, which will have 3 active fiber optic pairs with repeaters. 1 pair is reserved for commercial telecommunication bandwidth, including the government of Vanuatu. And 2 pairs are contracted to Pacific Peering and France to support the smart environmental and scientific sensor data gathering and analysis. The cable, the international cable, as well as the domestic cable, will be supplied by ASN, as I was saying. And the design life is 25 years plus 10. The domestic part will only have 1 active fiber optic pair, which will be unrepeated, and 2 branching units. So 1 northern one that will go to Santo and Manicola, and the second one will connect directly Tana to international. The cable route survey, which will happen in 2026, will map the deepwater domestic and international cable and to avoid any sensitive marine features. For the nearshore cable placement, a marine ecologist will determine the detailed route from a technical, and ecologically sensitive perspective. So that's to avoid to impact coral reef, etc. As for the installation, the process will be similar to other projects led by ASN. For instance, with ICN1, which is our current cable, joining Vanuatu to Fiji. We will have divers to assist with the cable laying process in the nearshore area. And there will be articulated piping around cable to provide protection in shallow waters to be bolted to harder substrate in the intertidal zone, avoiding sensitive ecological features. So nearshore marine ecology, that's something that's very important for Vanuatu. In short, the sensitive coral habitat can be avoided. That's the main thing. So there is shallow pools that only can contain a range of hardy and small sponge species, and the subtidal habitat is largely free of coral, which means that it's easier to go through. In terms of operations, the cable design life is 25 years plus 10 years operational capacity. Once installed, there is no need to access the cable for maintenance, except in an event of a fault or a break, which can happen from external sources like a large fishing vessel, ship anchors, natural disasters. And if there is a break or a damage to the cable, it will be necessary to retrieve it from the seafloor to repair the damaged section of the cable. So this is something that Prima will monitor and will maintain with ASN. In terms of landing, so the cable in New Caledonia will land in the area of Wei in Lifu. It's in the bay of Chateaubriand, which is one of the nicest bays of Lifu. It will go to the same location as Gondwana de Pico 2 and use the existing landside infrastructure. So there will be no terrestrial disturbance or construction, and OPT in New Caledonia will be the landing party and our partner for that. For FAT, as I was saying earlier, the TamTam cable will land in Pango, and there will be a festoon cable, which is another small cable that will connect TamTam landing station to the ICN1 landing station, which is in Prima in Mele. Verdicore Limited is the landing party, so that's the one organizing the land, etc. For Tana, as you can see here, the cable should land near Isangel, a bit closer to Lenakel, actually. We will have Santo and Malikola. So Santo should land near Luganville, and for Malikola, it will be close to Norsoup. This is for me in short, and I think we can have questions later on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madilda Ochet, for the presentation. We will leave the question for later. We will now proceed with our second presenter, Mr. Bipin. Thank you.
Good morning, Olgeta. I'm Bipin Solanki, and I am the VP of Sales for Pacific Broadband Satellites. Today, we'll be basically talking about, the opportunities within connectivity and resilience in the Pacific. So I'll talk a little bit about what we do in the region, and then also give some use cases based on what we're doing. So very quickly, we cover approximately 25 countries within the APAC region, larger markets being Indonesia and Philippines, and then we cover almost every other Pacific Island country in the region. And we've very recently started operations up in the Middle East in Pakistan. So we own and operate our own satellite, which is K1. It's a geostationary satellite. And how we operate is we don't go direct to market, rather we operate through our partners and ISPs on ground. So most of our partners are either the telcos or all telcos in each of these countries. And then also there are small ISPs that we support and get them to grow their business in the region. Apart from that, very recently, there's a lot of things that are happening in the world, and it's sort of gave government idea to now own sovereign infrastructure. So we have also sort of taken part in assisting government in launching and commercializing their own sovereign satellites. And we've just done this in Pakistan and Afghanistan through PakSat and Arabsat. And it's just extending now their capabilities to provide connectivity to the rural remote parts of their country. So now we operate in 26 countries, and then we connect close to 500,000 end users in the region. So as I mentioned, we are a GeoSat provider. We've got about a 60 gig system up in there. So Geo operates at about 36,000 kilometers above the Earth, and we have 56 spot beams. And what these spot beams basically do is it concentrates the capacity on landmass rather than sea, and that's how we get more high throughput efficiency on the amount of capacity we can deliver on land. We've got 3 centralized gateways in Philippines, Indonesia, and all the Pacific's connected to the gateways in Australia. Generally, we have like a 99.97% uptime across the regions we operate in. So putting it into sort of perspective, if you look at what are the opportunities in the Pacific, right? It's good to really lay down the numbers to see where these opportunities lie. So Pacific is very, very vast in terms of there's a lot of sea mass, and there's scattered tens of thousands of islands across the Pacific in this open sea. And it's very, very hard to deliver connectivity to each and every one of these islands. So there's definitely opportunity there to connect people. The Pacific has one of the lowest internet penetration rates, sitting at about 32%, where the world average is about 73%. And then if you look at the mobile coverage in the Pacific, it's sitting at about circa 60%, where the rest of the world, in more developed countries, are sitting at about 90%. So if you look at where the major gap is, there's a lot of schools, individuals, medical clinics, and what have you, that don't have access to the meaningful connectivity that they need. So close to 36% of the population who fall between the category of the young generation who can adopt technology are today sort of deprived of the connectivity requirements. So that's where satellite comes in. So if you look at challenges within the traditional internet operating space, which is basically the telcos, so you've got like the likes of submarine cables coming in and connecting, and it's basically the onus of the telcos to distribute that internet across the region or across the landmass, right? And it's not an easy task to do. Key things is it's not commercially viable to roll out towers wherever you want to, because the economies of scale is just not there. And then depending on which country you're in, and here I'm glad there's a second cable coming in, but prior to that we just have one cable in Vanuatu, and that's sort of the vulnerability point. If that goes down, you have completely lost connectivity to the world. So those are some of the key challenges that you face today here, especially in Vanuatu. And if you look at the rural sector, they're a very informal sector, and you have lots of farmers, fishermen, any sorts of things that people can do to generate income and become part of the ecosystem and economy. They don't always have access to connectivity. And if you look at things like mobile wallets and things, they're making life much easier for informal sector to trade, to get money, to do business, and to raise families. So not having that access in rural remote areas is definitely a challenge. And generally that's where sort of satellite comes in to sort of bridge that digital divide. And as you can see, a lot of the governments in the Pacific are moving to digital government. Digital government is a very hard ask if not everyone at the end mile is connected. So to really see whole of government go digital, it is almost needed critical mass in terms of 95, 96% of the population that needs connectivity. And today, that's not the case for most Pacific Island countries. So what are some of the market applications for satellite? So today we deliver connectivity to ultra-rural remote schools in the region. We also do a fair bit of work in terms of community Wi-Fi, where a lot of these villages and informal sectors use these community Wi-Fis to engage in economic activity. Major hurdle for healthcare is connectivity, because you have these rural outposts out there that don't have access to connection. They can't order things on time. They don't have access to things like telehealth, telemedicine, or consultants online should they need it. So satellites do provide that connectivity, and we've done a lot of rollouts for schools and healthcare facilities across the region. And apart from disaster response, one key thing is we actually enable telcos to bridge that digital divide by allowing them to do satellite backhaul in ultra-rural remote areas of these countries. And how it is done is because there's absolutely no infrastructure in terms of cables coming in. There's no line of sight for radio transmission to link to our other towers. And then there's always issues with power. So once they have a site that goes up, we provide the necessary connectivity needed to backhaul all the traffic into their core, which allows them to provide and extend their mobile coverage in the middle of nowhere. We do a lot of R&D within our sort of, in the business. And we've recently come up with this product, which is called the SatPack. This is sort of in the making over the couple of years, where the rural remote areas of, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, people gave us feedback to say, hey, we need something that we can move around because we're not always at one place. And we came up with the SatPack, which is a self-pointing 75 centimeter array antenna that allows you to do decent speeds and is very portable. Today, you have a lot of use cases for this, and obviously things like disaster relief is one of them. But then there's also enterprise applications to it for things like research. Recently, we deployed few in Papua New Guinea in the middle of nowhere for a French expedition who were doing some, scientific findings in Buka, in the rural interiors of Buka. And so this helps you be portable and have access to internet. And the speeds are fairly decent, right? 125 down and about 15 up. And then this is something we actually do for countries such as Vanuatu and the likes of Tonga. So a lot of the countries that have issues with, they only have one physical cable coming in, and also those that are prone to disaster, right? So you've got volcanoes, earthquakes, cyclones coming in all the time. So fiber backup is this large array antenna that sort of substitutes for cable during disaster. And we're able to push close to a gig on one single dish to get comms back and running. If I can share the most recent event, and I know this is, something that Vanuatu still has not recovered from, and the building will take a lot of time. But during the earthquake, when there was the massive outage, we helped Vodafone get up services and comms, especially on voice and OTT apps, straight away to assist in getting the help needed from the outside world and get everyone connected to have those much needed relief efforts come in. And as we're developing, there's everywhere that we go and deploy our VSAT services, one theme has been very common. There's absolutely no infrastructure there, which means there's no power, no nothing. So if you go and plop a VSAT in the middle of nowhere with no power, it's absolutely useless, and especially if people cannot use it, by recharging their laptops or use it on desktops. So we've also started up a infrastructure company, and we were the first TowerCo and InfraCo in Papua New Guinea, and we do passive infrastructure and power management for the likes of the telcos. And that also extends to government, enterprise, and smaller grade services for solar in ultra-rural remote areas. So some of the service offerings we see that's very, very sort of inherent to the Pacific is addressing the pain point for telcos is in the middle of nowhere. It's very hard to run a business and look after infrastructure. So we take away all the pain points of managing your site. We provide the uptime on power, and the telcos focus on providing the service. Today, when they do both, it's a mix and match. They really don't deliver. And we've seen in Papua New Guinea, after we've taken over these 40 sites from SDP project, which I'll share with you in a little bit, numbers from uptime on rural towers going up from 76% all the way to 99.99%, which is an amazing feat for ultra-rural remote tower management. Then we also have options to look at, because now telcos are coming to say, hey, we have these critical sites that really need to be managed. It's in the middle of nowhere. Can you help us? So we can buy these towers from them and then lease it back to them on a longer tenure. So it's an OPEX model now for them. So they get some money back. They can invest it somewhere else while they use the OPEX to get these towers operating. And then we also do a fair bit of new builds. So if a telco or two of them want a tower in an area, which is rural remote area, it doesn't make sense for one to go alone. We can do full build, turnkey, allow tower sharing and co-location on those sites, which makes it then feasible for them to put in the equipment and get services up and running for the people in that area. And last but not least, some of the things we're doing right now, and it's very amazing stuff, is if you look at the western province of Papua New Guinea, they're very mining heavy. They have, the landowners get paid from the mining companies, and they've built up this ecosystem where they use these funds to better the life of the people in that area. And one of them is communication. And what we do is, from these sites, we've helped put in things like weather stations and monitoring, and then also things like aviation beacons, so that when they have flights coming in, and these flights don't like chopper flights from anywhere in Papua New Guinea to anywhere else in the rural room, it's very costly, and weather is a huge impact. When you go there and there's bad weather, they turn back, but they still charge you. So with this weather monitoring technology, they're able to see how the weather is. It does predictive analysis. So even by the time the helicopter is going to get there, they're able to tell them which is a good time to go and when not to go. So they save a lot on money. Almost there. Okay. So yeah, this is just the final slide before I go to a video of a use case here in Vanuatu. So this is the tower project we're doing in western province of Papua New Guinea. So we have VSATs on all the sites that allow 2 or more telcos to co-locate on the towers, use the VSAT to backhaul the traffic back, and then get these servers up and running. We manage full power and passive infrastructure while they focus on the service, and the people are served better. Just like to leave you with a short video of the stuff we do, and this is actually closer to home up in Tanna. Can we get sound on the clip? All the way up. Okay, maybe you can just read the sign. It was a very nice story which I wanted to share with you guys and how it really impacts the school and clinic sector. So yeah, that's service we delivered to the school up in Tana in partnership with Vodafone. So we use our partners to deliver last mile and make sure that no one gets left behind. So if you need any connectivity requirements, please feel free to talk to us. We'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Sorry about the sound, but I believe the pictures speak for itself. Thank you, Mr. Bipin, for the insightful presentation. We have a final presenter from the VI team, Mr. Abisalome Wakatabu. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see, I'm here on behalf of the Vanuatu Institute of Technology. I'm here to explain about the challenges and some of the gaps and the opportunities that we need to look at in order to deliver our online platform from all the way in Torba down to Tana. As you can see, we have over 1,700 students, so we have quite a lot of students for the last few years. And with that number of students comes those numbers of connected devices. And recently, I think in the last late 2025, late 2024, delivery at Vanuatu Institute of Technology is fully paperless in the sense that everything is done online using a learning management system, which means one student comes in, we're expecting one student to come up with 2 devices. So that's the number that we have at the moment. This year, I believe the number has gone up a little bit more because of the number of students being given to us by the Ministry of Education. The key challenges that we have, 2 weeks ago, I came back from Tana on a scoping mission upon the request of the Secretary General of the Fair Provincial Council and the Ministry of Education. They wanted VIT to come and set up in Tana and set up the Fair VIT campus. Two sites were identified. One is at Isengal, which of course is in town. The next one is in Manwapen. I think this is on the southeast of Dana. The challenges that we can see there is, of course, the geography and the environment. In Isengal, it's quite okay because we have close to the main centers. However, if you move further close to Manwapen, Manwapen sits under the volcano. So we need to be mindful of the fact that if we're going to set up equipment there, what type of equipment are we going to set up? How are we going to look after those equipment? So these are some of the challenges that we are facing here moving forward. Of course, bandwidth, right? I'll move on to power instability. While we were at Tana, there was something very important that we noticed, that even at Isengal, they had power rationing during the day. So for us as a provider, it will be very difficult for us to deliver our services if we have power rationings during the day, right? And of course, we are dealing with students. We will always have students who try and manipulate the systems that we have. That is a worldwide thing that we need to look out for as an academic institution. Huh? And of course, the digital literacy gap. Students come to VIT to enroll, everybody comes with a mobile phone. But learning to know how to use a mobile phone is different from actually using the learning management system, which is why we need to be able to, before we teach the learning management system, we need to tell them, okay, you're good, you have a phone. But do you know how to use the phone to enable you to learn new things, to be able for you to be able to get to the learning management system properly? And of course, cost is something that we also consider. I was just sitting here before, during the opening ceremony, I was trying to figure out something. The cost of internet in Vanuatu, I think the wholesale cost is about $50, Australian dollars, I believe. However, the same cost, the cost of one wholesale MB in Fiji is $15. Cost is something that affects us in terms of delivery. May 2025, because we had a large number of students, so the cost that we incurred in internet bill for the month of May was 3 million Vatu. That's not sustainable for a school. We are not a company, we are an educational institute. And if we keep spending 3 million every month for internet services bills, I don't think VIT will be VIT any much longer. As you can see on the top left, it says no national ICT standards. While I acknowledge the fact that the Digital Transformation Act was passed late last year, I believe this is the umbrella that all educational institutes in Vanuatu need to come under and operate under one policy. Right? So I think the first step has been taken, and the onus is on us, the providers, the teaching providers, the government and our stakeholders to make sure that the playing field is level for everybody so that we can operate properly. Of course, cybersecurity is an issue that we need to look after, right? The skills gap that we have. VIT at the moment is running sort of a hybrid system in the sense that we have Pacific satellites, we use fiber optics, and we also have Starlinks. So we have we use 3 providers. So if you come to VIT, you connect to our network, you would not know which one you're connecting to. The idea is this: one goes down, 2 are there to take the connection outside. So for that kind of system to be able to deliver, you need people to be able to understand why and how that works, which is why it's important that people are trained. So if you are skilled, you either need to be reskilled or upskilled. As I was saying about our internet connectivity, we have fiber, we have Starlink. Sorry, Bipin, I didn't put Pacific here, but take my word for it. Yeah. We do have this kind of setup. And then we are, of course, it's more technical kind of thing, but that's how we control all 3 connections that go out to the internet. Okay? They're all coming together into the firewall, and the firewall is configured to direct traffic according to these different places, according to different metrics that we have. With Starlink, we are also able to remotely connect to our first VIT campus, which is in Malampa, which is in Malekula, Rensari. So our technicians just returned from Rensari, I think 3 weeks ago. They installed a new firewall, so we're able to monitor and check everything going on in Rensari from Port Vila in Vanuatu in VIT by updating our firewall. So we are able to remotely connect and actually manage our remote sites using this. So the same type of setup that we did in Rensari will be done in the fair, will need to be done in Sanma campuses, and so on. Right. Some of the things that we did at school at VIT to enable us to be able to have equitable services for everybody who uses the network. Right. We've standardized our firewall in all the campuses. Right. We are now using 40 The second thing that we've done is we've segmented traffic in the sense that students' traffic go on this over here, staff traffic go over here. Right? We've also done a bit of further traffic shaping by saying that of all students, devices, because we know that students are the highest number in school. So one student, for every device that the student has, he can only go up to 10 Mbps. Right? Whereas the staff have unlimited access. And of course, we've done application control. Some of our students are very clever students. We've put filters and everything on the firewall. Now we're finding out that they found ways to bypass those. So we constantly need to keep moving forward and forward and forward. It's a good thing. Our students are getting more tech savvy, which means the trainers and the ICT staff of VIT need to be more tech savvy than the students. Before we had all these issues, congestion, 9 to 10 is our heavy peak usage. Nothing was working until we made some changes. Right? Unstable network, poor video conferencing. After what we did, that came up. So we had better performances. We were able to deliver from here to Rensari. We were able to deliver from Rensari back to Villa. So we've done quite a lot in terms of upgrading of infrastructure. Just to quickly go over this one again. VIT invested almost 20 million Vatu last year for its optical fiber project, and also the inclusion of the redundant pathways that we created. So, as I said before, it's not expensive trying to run an education institute. What are some of the opportunities? From what we've learned at VIT, traditional internet connectivity does not work anymore. You need to have some sort of a hybrid network to be able to deliver your product. In our case, learning. 2024, during the earthquake, the fiber broke. Fortunately, at that time, we had Pacific Satellite. Bipin is smiling. We had Pacific Satellite. Pacific Satellite was the one that kept us going for a few more weeks before we got the FIB back up and repaired, right? Governance and frameworks, again, as I said, the Digital Act was passed in late December. We need the government to engage more with educational institutes to see where they can, or where we can fit in, and how we can shape the digital landscape in terms of online delivery and digital transformation. Of course, ICDLs, digital skills, and of course, our strategic partnerships. On our partnership, we late last year, I think October or August, VIT signed an MOU with the Public Service Commission of Vanuatu for us to deliver digital literacy programs to the whole of the civil service. So we've started the ball rolling, and again, delivery, partnership, this is very, very important. Sorry, it's gone out of context, but what we mean is that investing in robust and scalable digital infrastructure is not an option, it is essential. The world that we live in is not the world that we live in 20, 15 years ago. It has changed, okay? Which means our thinking and the infrastructure that we use must be digitally transformed, okay? Otherwise, we are just coming up to forums and functions and talk about it, and then we go back to the same old traditional way of doing things. Huh? Some of the opportunities I think that we share from the Vanuatu Institute of Technology, infrastructure, very critical. During the ICT week in Santo last year, I had the chance to ask the General Manager of ICL and the CEO of Digicel and Vodafone this question. Please tell me, why is it expensive to have internet access in Vanuatu? For those who were listening, as I said, it's about $50 compared to 15 in Fiji. Yes? The answer that they gave me is, we are going to go through this, and I want to say thank you to Prima for making sure that the second cable comes on. Because this infrastructure will help lower the cost so that we are able to deliver what we promised to our students and to our stakeholders. Partnership with government institution, the Commonwealth Telecommunication Organizations, DCDT, right? As an educational institute, we need your support for us to be able to deliver our core program. Of course, DCDT, the act has been passed. Cybersecurity needs to be planned properly. We don't want to set up a network, leave it there, step back, and let people go around all over the place. Yes, you have a responsibility. VIT has a responsibility to ensure that the network that we put in is safe, is used for the purpose that it was built for, and also it must be monitored and evaluated all the time. Okay? And I think I clicked on the clicker, but ladies and gentlemen, I think that presentation sort of highlights what we've done so far at VIT, what we think can be done, and also why we think this is important so that moving forward, we work together hand in hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abisalome, for the insightful presentation. Infrastructure is the backbone of digital transformation. So today we have heard from our provider, the cable, submarine cable, and satellite provider on what they have been undertaking in ensuring connectivity throughout the country and in the region. And for the submarine cable, we are fortunate that the second cable is a smart cable in which it will help to detect natural disaster in terms of tsunami and as well as disasters that are happening within our current or the sea. So we are happy, or we are fortunate to have that technology available, and we are happy to hear that this second cable is connecting Port Vila, Lucanville, Malekula, and Tana. So that alone is telling us that with the capacity, internet capacity, is giving a positive sign here that in terms of bandwidth, bandwidth conscious, and I think this sort of available technology will address that. In terms of Pacific, we are hearing that Pacific is doing a lot of work with connecting our rural areas. So in terms of school connectivity, in terms of health. So they're actually covering that. And they are also assisting the government in terms of infrastructure, in terms of infrastructure sustainability, tower maintenance. So they are also providing support in that sense. And with our educational institution, they are also doing, they are also supporting digital transformation in terms of educational delivery. They are promoting that in terms of the systems they are actually undertaking in the schools and how they are improving in the learning system. And one of the challenges that we have had from the VIT is the high cost of bandwidth and geographical locations in terms of connectivity within the campus out in the provinces is also a challenge. And yes, and power is also a challenge here. We will now proceed with the Q&A since our time is progressing very fast. So we will now leave for the audience if you have any questions in regards to the presentations to our panelists. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Leonardo Bonyo from the CTO, and my question goes to the satellite provider. In terms of advancement and innovation, currently, satellite is really taking the space. If you look at, let's say, the next 2 or 3 years, 2 to 5 years, what would you say is some of the advancements that is going to help bridge the digital divide in terms of satellite technology? Thank you.
Hello. Thanks, Leo, for the question. I think there's a lot happening in the satellite space as we speak. So with the entrance of LEO players, now there's multiple LEO investments being made across the globe. Each country is trying to harness the power of LEO. I think long term, what we need to see is how viable it is and sustainable. If you look at traditional satellites like GEO, MEO, they have higher or longer lifetime compared to LEO. So you need to pump out as many satellites as you can. They work in a constellation. So LEO's there. There's in geospace, we now have software-defined beams. So with traditional, like you see, K1 has spot beams, but we're not. Once we provisioned it, it cannot be changed. But with the new software-defined beam technology, you can move capacity on the fly. So if you have a contract or a need in a specific country, you can move that beam and pump all that capacity there. Versus you have coverage over a country that doesn't require it, which is a waste of capacity. So having that sort of flexibility on software-defined beam technology is really good. So those are upcoming as well. Within the LEO space, you have, the likes of Amazon LEO coming in. Then there's also other technology, which is like a MPLS network in the sky. So they do laser technology to move vast amounts of data in the sky and then deploy it to a single satellite. So very good use case for the likes of telcos for backhaul. So there's lots happening in that space. Apart from that, there's also now, as I mentioned and alluded to, governments are now looking into sovereign satellites. So owning your own infrastructure in the sky is sort of something, because I think it's something also that's going around the world. You can't depend on one particular provider. They want the security, they want data sovereignty, and all that. So it makes sense for some governments who can afford their own satellites to go that way. And as you've seen in the presentation, we've helped a couple of governments do that. But then the commercial viability of the satellite is also very important. So I think those are some of the nice things to look forward to in the satellite space in the couple of years' time.
Thank you, Bipin. I hope Bipin has responded to your question. Thank you. If there is any other questions from the audience. Thank you, Andrew. You can pass on the mic to Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you. Question for Prima. Thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to be more clear on the business model for Prima. Is it going, two parts of the question. One is, what sort of customers are you looking at this stage? And also, how is the government benefiting from that cable as well? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So in terms of customers, we actually have an agreement with Interchange to only sell to them. So, and they're going to be the one reselling to the operators. And then second part of your question, the government, there is dedicated 100 gigabytes for the government on our cable. If you have more technical questions, unfortunately, I'm not able to respond to that directly, but I can give you my card if you have questions and I can check that. Hope that answers partially at least your question.
Thank you. I think it answers the question. I'm just looking at, I thank you for that 100 gig you mentioned. So the government has to pay for that 100 gig to be able to use it, or is it free?
It's free of charge for the government.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Okay, we have another. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
right at the back. Okay, thank you.
Good morning to everyone. Noah Patrick, Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Just listening to the presentations and thank you to the presenters. I have a few observations and then maybe one or two questions. One is the issue of that challenge of connectivity. Now, the point is the islands are very scattered. The issue for me is that how the submarine cables can be sustainable to ensure that the service current environment, in particular when we talk about climate change. Do you earthquake in 2024? It affects a lot in terms of communication as well. How are you going to actually reassure the people that, yes, we will install the submarine cable, it will be top regulator? How do you guys talk to each other to fix that kind of cost? Because I think the representative from VIT mentioned the difference between Vanuatu and Fiji. I always say that, and I used to live in Fiji for 5 years before coming back to Vanuatu. Just for data, for instance, You can go for $25 fee chain. We need to actually align ourselves to. Because I would say that access to data 8 Vanuatu is a luxury now. And people can go and spend 200 Vanuatu
security. So I will now leave it to Prima, colleague, and then if Kasivi can also contribute here. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments and questions. I'll try to answer what I can. So first, in terms of redundancy, because I think you mentioned at the beginning the infrastructure and the fact that if there is a cut, if there is a breakage, if there is natural disaster, how are we going to provide for that? So typically, the fact that we are going to install a second submarine cable is the redundancy plan. There is an agreement between ICN and Prima that we will give each other connectivity in case there is any issue with one or the other cable. I just wanted to do a quick note also about ICN. So in December 2024, when we had the earthquake, the cable itself was not cut. The issue was at the landing station here in Mele, in Villa. And Prima team was able to reconnect internet with the submarine cable within 8 days, 9 days, which was pretty extraordinary because normally in other countries, this is something that would take weeks. So having a second submarine cable will enable these kind of things not to happen, hopefully. So that's, yeah, to answer that part of the question. There was a part about security of the data. I'm not sure I can answer to that question. If anyone else, just
Okay. Pacific, if we may also respond to that question. And
I think in terms of security, it's multiple layers that come in. At each layer, there needs to be enough done by that particular provider, I might say. So, I mean, with the submarine cable coming in, they just provide these pipes. Now they're smart enough to do other things. At the same time, these pipes are just given to telcos to operate the network. Then I think there's the onus on the providers to put in the necessary security within their networks, which I think they do most of the time. They have multiple firewalls, and these are enterprise-grade telco firewalls. Then they have different application layer protection, things running on the back end. Then they also use different types of vendors and smart pipes. If you look at technologies, I know from telco days, we used to use a lot, and they also have built-in, security systems. So it's just cybersecurity is something that you need to build layers within layers to get as much sort of security as you can. But at the same time, there is no system till to date that has proven to be, impregnable. But at the same time, I think it's just everyone doing their part. And it can be as simple as, someone sending an email at work, and, it's just gone through the system. It's an email that's gone through the system in a pipe. And IT's warned the end user that, don't open these sort of messages. And they do. So end user, you really can't protect. So there's multiple layers of security. Everyone needs to play their part. The telco will do theirs. I think the submarine cable will do theirs. The data centers that they connect to, such as Equinix and stuff, they do theirs. And it's up to the end user to also do their part to really create that multi-layer security. If that makes sense. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Since our time, I think we are beyond time. So if I may ask our presenters to give their final remarks as we round off this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. Just as a short summary of what we've been saying, in terms of for Prima, we're really glad to be bringing a second submarine cable to Vanuatu, and that will be able to connect different islands internationally directly. And yeah, so we're looking forward to end of 2027, beginning of 2028, when we can actually start using that service. Thank you.
Maybe just some final thoughts regarding connectivity as a whole in the Pacific, and then also then applies to Vanuatu is there's no one size fits all solution for everyone. There are a lot of similar challenges across the Pacific. Some are more to do with terrain, the other to do with land, sea mass between them. So not like running sea cables or domestic fiber is not the answer for everyone. Running fiber over, certain terrains is not the answer for everyone. Each technology has its role to play in sort of bridging the digital divide. We need the submarine cables, we need the telcos, we need the satellite players. They're all complementary that need to work together to sort of meet the end goal of saying that no one is left behind. And if we really want to reach that pinnacle of, the eGov systems that you want everyone to have access to eGov, if you want every child to have access to education, if you want every medical center to have access to comms to do and carry out their work, then it's everyone needs to play their part, work together, collaborate, and then deliver the end result. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Vanuatu government for passing the Digital Transformation Act 2025. I believe that's a step in the right direction to ensure that there's an umbrella that we all work under. Digital transformation is not a singular action. We have our providers, we have the government, and we have the users. So it's a collective action of everybody that will enable us to digitally transform and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And once again, please give them a round of applause.
Thank you. Test. Thank you, Mrs. Waki, for moderating that session for us. That brings us to the end of session 2. Going forward, we're just ready for lunch. Lunch will be served down at the restaurant. You are all invited for lunch. There should be plenty to go around, so please don't leave. Meet us down at the restaurant for lunch. We will be convening here again at 1:30 for our third session, Building Trust in Digital Services. Before we leave, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Vanessa on stage. She'll be giving us our last item before we head out for lunch. Thank you.
northern stars to the southern shores. We're opening up a brand new door. In every island we're growing strong. Oh, we are building the future in every space. It's the dawn of a new day. We are turning a new page, hand in hand for a better tomorrow. Digital Vanuatu to shine so bright. Commonwealth Roadshow, leading the light. Future is now with us together. The best of our islands for all mankind. Digital governance, digital economy, digital resilience for a better Vanuatu. The youths are rising with a tech smart heart. The digital business is ready to start. Where the winds blow hard and the storm clouds grow, our early warnings help us to know. Sustainable, steady and ready to thrive. Keeping our culture and commerce alive. In every island we are growing strong. Building for our future generation. It's the dawn of a new day. We are turning a new page, hand in hand for a better tomorrow. Digital Vanuatu to shine so bright. Commonwealth Roadshow, leading the light. Future is now with us together. The best of our islands for all mankind. One road for all, no one left behind. Unlocking the power of the island mind. From the school to the clinic, the knowledge is free. Digital skills here for you and me. One road for all, no one left behind. Unlocking the power of the island mind. From the school to the clinic, the knowledge is free. Digital skills here for you and me. Digital Vanuatu to shine so bright. Commonwealth Roadshow, leading the light. Future is now with us together. The best of our islands for all mankind. Digital Vanuatu to shine so bright. Commonwealth Roadshow, leading the light. Future is now with us together. The best of our